Hello everyone, this is the second part of my little series on how to use the Singer SB-100 knitting machine. Now, in the previous one I covered casting on and just basically how to set this machine up. And this one I'm going to talk about increasing, decreasing, casting off, and I'm also going to talk about yarn choice. So first of all, I have 30 stitches on the needles here, and I'm going to show you how to increase stitches. Now, if you want to increase a stitch on each side, my advice is, even though the manual says you can pull down a needle on either side, I find that it often misses this one. So I don't really recommend doing that. I recommend, if you want to increase one stitch on either side, pull the needle out, lay the yarn across as you normally would. There's my yarn. And then, as normal, just knit as you normally would. My middle needle is sticking a bit, needs oiling. Okay, so you've now increased by one stitch. And now I'm going to increase this side. So I simply pull it down, I'm going to loop the yarn over and stitch this, not stitch, knit this row. There we go. Okay, and now I've increased the stitch on either side. So that's increasing. You can, in the manual, it suggests if you want to do what they call fancy decreases, for example, on a raglan, what you need to do is effectively move stitches along to additional needles and then lay the yarn across. And it's probably easy to show you actually. I'll pull these down. It just asks you to move the yarn across, which is not very stretchy. Pull it across here. Yeah. And here. Does not want to do it. And then you just knit across as normal, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to put it back. Also, as I keep reiterating, and as you can see, I'm not very careful myself, these needles can be really nasty if you catch your finger on them. So when you're messing about tugging at yarn, be careful, because I've cut myself so many times on this thing. Okay, now if you want to decrease, it's basically the same process as casting off. What you do is you use this tool. I will turn this so you can see it nicely. Push it in, and then you see you've got the stitch on the eyelet tool thing. Hook it over the leading needle, and then you can lay it across and stitch. If you're only decreasing 1 or 2 stitches on either side, I find it's absolutely fine. Oh, the yarn split there. One moment. Yeah, it's usually fine just to put two loops over the needle on each side. So I'm going to decrease those stitches that I increased. Ta-da! Okay, so I cast on 30 and we're back to 30. I'm going to slot in here a video of how to cast off completely. And so here's me in the past casting off. Right, I thought this was actually quite good yarn to show you how to cast off as well. So again, I've been experimenting. Whoop. You'll probably have seen these swatches already when I talk about yarn choices, but I thought this was actually quite nice and clear to show you how to cast off. Yeah, my tension went funny there. Look at that. Right, so this is the tool I already spoke about. Now just like I showed you before about moving the yarn around, you push it in and then pop it on the next needle. So you can see you have your 2 stitches on this needle, and take the yarn, lay it across the needle, push it in, push it back, lose the stitch completely, more in a second, and you've cast off 1 stitch. And then you just do the same. So I'm going to show you again. 2 stitches on this needle, lay the yarn across, and then you're going to gently, this time, not lose it, push the yarn in, take it out. And what's also worth doing is just loosening it up a little bit, because this can, when it casts off, it can be really tight, and then obviously you're going to have to redo that whole thing, because if that is, say, your neck edge on a jumper or a sweater, that's going to be a really tight cast off, and you're not going to want that, because you're going to feel like you're throttled whenever you put on your jumper. If you can hear rustling, again, it's one of my cats. She's very excited about something. This same method as well is what you do when you do decreases. Don't know if I already said that, but so when a pattern says decrease, you do this. And I do find that actually it's fine to do this on either side, because if it's at 1 stitch on either side, you can just do this and this. If it's more than 1 or 2 stitches, it's better to do it on the starting end of each row rather than do it at the end of each row, because I find it can get quite messy quite quickly. Okay, so we're nearly done here. We're gonna go in, flip it over, and if you need a particularly stretchy cast off, my advice would be honestly to do that by hand. There are some methods to do a stretchy cast off, but I don't believe them to be any faster or more straightforward than simply doing it by hand. You're not going to save any time. Okay, and that to me is one of the fundamental. So there we are. Here's my cast off. Quite distinctive. Also, I do find that these are quite satisfying to seam and to pick up stitches from as well. But you can see it's not that stretchy. And if you really do need it to be stretchy, then this maybe isn't the cast off for you, and you should do it by hand. Okay, so I'm going to go into the purpose of these swatches. If I haven't put it in already, then I will explain, but you may already know. I'm not sure what order I'm going to do this in. Okay, this is, I think this is, it's a wool cotton mix. Very nice. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video of me casting off. Now I'm going to talk about yarn choice. So, I fell on the ground. This machine, this machine does not really like anything other than 4-ply. And it really doesn't like 100% cotton yarns. Now, I've actually got some of this, which is Sheepy's stone washed, which is, you know, it's sport weight 4-ply. And because it's like a cotton acrylic blend, it's got a little bit of bite to it, the same way that wool does. But obviously, if you don't want to use wool for whatever reason, I do actually think this is really nice. For look at this. I will stop, and you know, I said these needles can be really sharp and you can catch your fingers on them. They will also destroy anything that gets hooked into them. So, for example, if you're wearing a nice jumper or something, you need to be really careful that you do not catch your cuffs in these things. They can be quite vicious. Anyway, this, for a cotton yarn, I actually find it's been pretty good. The the fabric it's producing is nice, it's soft. I'll pop this off, let's swatch off so you can see actually. I talked about this in the previous episode. So to remove something from the yarn, you push this button in. Just move this out of the way. Push the button in on the carriage, take it across, and here is your swatch, which I don't know, I was playing around with the gauge here as well. I do really like this. I think this does suit. I've been going looser and looser and looser. I think it suits I've been doing this at 8. I don't know what's going on with the lighting here. So yeah, I've been knitting this at 8. I think this is a really nice soft texture. Now I did do some experiments. So first of all, I got some of this, which is worsted Aran weight. This is Let Lopi Icelandic, like epically itchy Icelandic yarn. This this is a worsted weight. This machine claims it will do anything up to chunky. I don't know why they think that chunky yarn would work on this, but I did try knitting up a swatch. And so what I actually did was I had a look at the manual, and it suggests knitting on alternate needles. So that would basically mean, there's my comb thing. So that means this. So you just cast on every other needle. And I found actually this worked pretty well. And when I tried to do it with as normal with each needle, it was really, really difficult, really stiff, really horrible. Do not recommend. And this, I could see myself wearing a jumper like this. It does have some drape. It's kind of stiff, but that's inherent in the yarn. But not too bad. Now the next swatch I tried, also in worsted Aran weight, and this is Drops Alaska. And this, by the way, these were both knitted at 12. And yeah, I mean, it's a little stiff, but I think if you had a nice drop shoulder jumper or cardigan, you know, something quite big and loose, I think this would work quite well for it. You know, it's okay. I also tried this one, which is, it's like it's a wool cotton blend. Again, it's quite thick. It's quite nice. This one's got quite a bit more drape to it. As you can see, again, I knitted this at 12. And then finally, this is the mystery yarn I've had for a while. I started at, I think, yeah, I started this at 12, and then I went down to 8. This, I think, it's kind of, it's a bit thicker than 4-ply. It's not quite DK. Now the other stuff I have used is DK, which is, it does knit and it's fine, but it's quite a lot of work. So certainly if you're starting out, I wouldn't go any thicker than 4-ply sport weight, and I would go for something like a wool or a wool cotton blend or a cotton blend. The one thing I wouldn't recommend is 100% cotton. The other thing I don't recommend, I've used some alpaca silk mix, which was not great at all, because I think it's just too slippery. So it was very difficult to work with, and every time you lost a stitch, it was pretty much gone for good. So that was a pain in the rear end. Okay, now I think I'm going to do, my third episode is going to be on errors. So for example, dropping stitches and how to get those back. So how to fix things when they go wrong. So look, for example, it's going to trigger some people, that is. Okay, and if you do have any requests or anything else you'd like me to cover, please do drop me a message in the comments and I'll see what I can do. And I will see you in the next one. Okay. There we go. All right, bye for now.